there's an alternative to it. Here we you're like,
Hold on,
okay,
wait,
we're
hold
getting
on. I have
into it.
to hold on, wait. I gotta fix this because
Oh
it's
wait, you went into YouTube. I thought you were going to record it. Now we're just streaming. We're just out there, huh? Are you just pushing buttons?
okay. Hold on, I'll fix it though. No, we're not streaming. It's private. It's private.
Meeting is
But
now
anyways, go
on
act.
YouTube.
Just act like you're not on live stream. No, honestly, this. So at the end of the day, do we really want more people into crypto?
Okay, that's a good question too. Yes. I mean, I
Okay.
think it's
Okay.
yes.
Great.
It's a good question to ask, but I
Is
believe
it,
it. Yes.
is it your responsibility?
You know, I feel it's my calling. I feel like it's a calling.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Why?
because I feel like crypto is a force for good. That's my little moniker. It's like crypto is force for good, way beyond the vesting, way beyond money. You know, you could say it's blockchain really, but I think crypto and blockchain together are really the magic. And it's a force for good that people, they can't get past the FOMO or the fear, or it's just an investment and all I want to do is make money from it because it's so much more. I get that. That's human nature. But this is the passion that I'm bubbling up with. It's like, how do we communicate this? How do we get this across? It's way more than an investment. It's way more than one little thing. And it's so the stuff that Ray Dalio talks about, that's a whole area that I'm looking into. It's like the fourth turning, the changing world order. There are cycles that our world goes through, economies go through cycles. We're about it. They're about 80 to 100 years. This is Ray Dalio's theory. We're right about there. So usually another country comes in and it's usually a war that transitions into that next cycle. And we're at that stage now. We're at that 100-year stage now where we've been the top dog since World War II. China's on our heels. You know, I don't know if it's going to be China. And Ray doesn't specifically say either. It's like, oh, this will happen. He's like, this is what I've looked at in history, right? And so for me, it's like, I'm not going to say, oh, you better all be in Bitcoin or you better all be there. But you probably should have at least 5% of your portfolio in there. You should have a plan to have some in there. And for people like me, I'll probably have a little bit more than that in there. That's just one aspect. Then there's a lot of other stuff. There's all the stuff that you do. There's all the NFT as a unit of exchange, right? It's a way to put ownership.
It's a smart contract. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
literally talking about transparency, and yet somehow not everyone, many people were fraudulent. And then for the pursuit of happiness, we were pushed down by governance saying, now, don't move too fast, by our regulators. So, when I only ask you this because like, why does it matter? At the end of the day, the system will evolve. And I've been in since 2009. The system will evolve. There will be winners, there will be losers, there will be ups and downs, there will be waves of change, there will be bears, there'll be so many things. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. So if what you're saying, and if I'm hearing you correctly, how can you help people get in before it's too late? Is something like that?
Sort of like that. It's not even that dire really before it's too late. It is, for me, it's not even that. It's just see the light. I find it so interesting. The more I think about it, it's like, so Bilio did an interview with Robert Breedlove the other day too, or was a fairly recent one. And of course, have you followed his stuff, Robert Breedlove?
No.
Very Bitcoin maximalist, but very intellectual, very deep into, he sits there and has these conversations with Michael Saylor about Bitcoin and about, it goes down to the energy level and, it's just crazy stuff, but good. And, it's this concept of a greater good, right? It's like Bitcoin is just this, it's beyond the network itself is really the key, right? It's the way the network runs, and it takes trust, out of the system. There's no third parties. That alone is this pure system, right? And who sees the light and who doesn't, right? And it's like, what kind of personalities kind of get it and what kind don't? And is there a way? I know we can't, everybody can't be there, but when people are afraid of it or they're almost mad at it, like it's a scam, and that upsets me. It upsets me. It's like, in something that I see is so like pure and force for good, people are afraid of it. They're really negative about it.
Well, okay. Thank you. And how do I say it with still being pro blockchain, pro crypto, pro gaming, pro everything that's anything technology based and currency? The best way I can say this is be aware. Be aware of your own personal power, of your own personal value. There's a lot of noise out there. I don't know from what day to which day it is when I get into the world of Bitcoin, from this guy and that person and that news. It's worse than media. Now you're inundated with all these unexperted people, if that's a word, telling you all these different things and manipulating stories and using words in order so they can benefit. So here's what I did is I unplugged.
I get it.
Had to.
I know.
Had to, because I felt like in the face of beauty, I saw the system. I saw a long time ago how everything would eventually, through waveforms, would change. And these waves would create and net us a new world. And we're going to get there. There will be abundance for everyone. There will be a universal income for everyone. There will be AI for everyone. People will have medical care in places that you've never been, like don't have access to medical care. There's going to be so much. But in the midst of that, you have people who are still living in a fear-based society that's clamoring for the next big thing and to hurry up and success packages and they're still in the old system, and they're actually slowing down the beautiful new system. And the beautiful new system is this ease of use.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my goodness, thank goodness we can send my grandmother over in El Salvador some money, and it's only 26 cents on $2,000, if that. Thank goodness that women have freedom to have their own banking system within. There's so many things, but what's happened, and I almost feel like it was so untouched in the earlier phase, and then it got touched by layers and stacks of technologies that are manipulative and have caused a lot of pain and suffering for people. And when FTX went down, and then if you follow the trail of the money, you'll notice, okay, well, this is all a setup, but not a part of blockchain, not from an intuitive standpoint, because the grids and the layers are there. It's the technology that was built on top of other technologies that then disable the actual transit system so you can be transparent. And of course, then we had rec polls and all kinds of things and manipulators. And again, that's because a fear-based society is still living under a helm or the aegis of an old governing system. But we're like right at the cross line now. You've probably seen Grateful Girl put up the X, right?
Yeah,
X,
I saw. I totally
us.
agree with
It could go like this too. I mean, we're either danger, don't go, or we're over in heaven above or down below, still in earth. There's maybe like that.
Well, I'm glad we touched base, because this is where I figured you needed a break from it, because everything you just said, I feel the same thing, and I totally agree, because you were way into it deep, and I'm glad you're pulling back, getting back to your spirituality, but not also completely abandoning it and going away.
It's mindful business.
Just flow. Yeah. And that's, That's good. That's good too. And it's interesting because what kind of touched this off, I think our discussion was when I said, yeah, man, it's like, I need that immediateness. Like, and what I sort of am applying to that is just, sort of my nature. What I like to work on small things, but that are like immediate. And so that's why but it also makes me play small, because I have to like be able to grasp my hands around it before I feel like I can step out. And so for me, as writing and researching is just sort of my comfort zone, right? And so I sort of know that, but I am as far as, and I like the thing about, write, do articles, whatever. And I've been building up my YouTube channel. I haven't got a lot of subscribers, but I still just had my weekly show every Friday. We do it. So I just got off with that with Brianna. And today I was getting worked up about the regulation, and I talk about the most negative part of this, this stuff about Gary Gensler and what he's doing. And when I look at all that fear and stuff, and nothing he's really doing is having any impact. And I said today, I just challenge anyone to show me any good thing that he's doing, that anything that he's doing is good. It's like, I'm a reasonable person. Show me something that is good that he's trying to do, and I'll listen to it. But I can't think of anything good that he's doing.
Well,
just, yeah. So it can, and then I'm like, and we always try to keep it really positive, and so then I got to take a deep breath and dial back, and it's like, okay, I love crypto, and you can get into that swirl.
so let's pull back a little bit and go back into purpose.
Yeah.
And originally you said, why aren't more people into crypto? And so I'll give you a couple of ideas here, and you probably heard them before. It's not that easy. There's definitely a barrier to entry, right? So it's they call it the usability. How can we actually get into the space without fear or without the complexity of the tech? Because not everybody's technology based, right?
Is my camera blinking?
It is.
The heck?
It's
started
okay. I kind of like it. It's like
kind of spacey. It was acting weird at the end of my last podcast. Oh, it's getting really hot. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, now it's good.
So I wonder if I can just put it so you stay there and I'll just keep on talking.
Okay.
Then you have the regulatory clarity and the ability for people to understand, is this the highest good for my investment right now, when things may change and then now people are going to govern us? And so there's a little bit of skepticism there that can discourage a lot of people from coming in, and I think that's going to change radically very soon. And then you have this, that's not for me, right? That's not for me, the older generation. Some of the most famous billionaires around the world, I'm not going to get into that. And here I'm going to stay stable with these types of investments. But the increased awareness around not just cryptos, but the increased awareness about the solutions is what you were talking about. Why do we want, say, to invest, or why do we need a solution for XYZ? Clean water, clean air, traffic control, monitoring medical sensitivities and security, but also giving more medical transparency so that more people can live and survive and get what they need when they need it. I mean, this increased awareness to me is really about synthesizing all of the holes in the boat and noticing, okay, there's definitely a hole here. I was listening to, I can't remember his name right now, but I was listening to the VP of Oracle, and he has a organization that is helping with bringing cardiovascular support to Middle America for pediatricians, and AI can do it. And he's like, well, unfortunately, it is centralized within the technology just isn't there.
Mm.
And I know we're seeing that. We're seeing, oh, we have all these great things, but the technology just isn't there as well. So we have to be patient. Everything is perfect. All this craziness over here of thievery, lie, steal, and cheat is being balanced with potential policies and regulation. And not that we want to be governed by it all day long, but I think that we do need some things in there to play
Yeah,
out.
sure.
And
I
then on
agree.
the other side of this is that we have to be willing to give up a little bit of our control, because we don't know how to even know where our pass keys are when it's at the
Well,
end.
yeah.
Like, there are some people who do not want to take full responsibility for their own actions, and that's including hospitals, governments, institutions, organizations. They all don't want that responsibility, and yet
Mm.
so there's a factor that we
Yeah.
have to put in here, which is greater acceptance of all of these infrastructures. And at the top of the food chain of those infrastructures are businesses and merchants in the sale. So at the end of the day, people are trying to live in an economy that works, that's helpful. I do believe most people are of the helpful nature. But when they aren't and they are still trying to do the old world, it's going to be found out right away. We're seeing it everywhere right now. So anyways, like,
Also, the fear, like when people are afraid, then they just default to the old ways, to what they know.
unplug
Um,
and ignore. I'm not going to be a part of that again. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was a couple of things that are interesting that I was thinking about when you're talking about that. You know, okay, so this is good. This is, when I'm the happiest, when I'm dealing with crypto, is when I am,
When you're talking to me.
well, always. I mean, you started me out on this whole thing. I don't know why or how you did, but you did, because I was sort of ambivalent to it kind of before we were talking about it. And as you got into it, oh, you know what it was? You sent me, yeah, it was you. You sent me a free course or whatever.
A Coinbase wallet. It was
No,
that.
no, it was an educator. Who was the guy who was it Australian, or he was an Aussie, or the guy we had a really harsh accent, maybe just European. I don't know. It was something like wealth. I can't remember his name, but it was the first like bunch of videos that I watched. He had a free course, and he was a traveling guy, traveled all around. And anyways, it was the first thing I watched, and I sort of saw, oh, this is kind of cool. And he was pretty much into the investment side and the economics of it. And there was something about, I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. And then I went to the next guy and found another guy and another guy and another guy. And anyways, then I was very intrigued and got into it. But when I'm doing DeFi, so I've also been trying to spend a lot of time investing, and doing, crazy stuff like in DeFi. Like I'm doing full out yield farming, and the more I'm working with, the easier it gets, because it's confusing as hell at first. And I'm like, oh, and I'm checking out my spreadsheet, and it's frustrating because the thing about yield farming and DeFi is every smart contract, every system that you're working with, every liquidity pool, whatever, is all different. Every interface is different. So it's hard to like track, like, how am I doing? Like, am I doing good or what? It's confusing as hell. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I got to organize
So
this.
there's the opportunity, Scott. So you don't need to write any books. Why don't you create a software that's like an Excel spreadsheet? AI can do it for you now, that you then license and trademark, and then you get out there and you promote it so people can know where they are.
So, yep, that's exactly what I was going with that. And then I got bit by the AI bug, and it totally derailed me, because I was doing that same thing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to create this awesome AI connected spreadsheet dashboard thing. And I've done this before in other projects, and I go in, because I'm not a programmer, but I'm pretty good about connecting stuff. And
do you use
with the no code, low code stuff now, I'm like, okay.
Do you use Coin Tracker?
I do for that. And it's, so here's the other thing about it. It's like, so I'm in, DeFi, and I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some basic, altcoins. And CoinTracker does that really well, but it doesn't do the DeFi stuff. And I've got wallets all over the place. So anyway, I was like, there's all these little rabbit holes. I also got in, so I'm with a group of people that are doing yield farming, and the leader of that decided to do what's kind of called, I call it airdrop farming. And it's basically figuring out what the next big airdrop could be, and then going in there and doing a bunch of transactions in that ecosystem so that they'll recognize you as a loyal user and you get the airdrop. We've been doing this now for about 6-8 months. Very tedious. They're very small transactions, but you have to do a lot of them and try to track it. And with the ARB token, with Arbitrum, I got $6,000 airdropped, which I thought was awesome. 2 people in my group got 60,000, and they were like overachievers. They did like 50 different wallets. And
Really?
so I have 10 wallets and I'm going to eventually have 25, and you're doing like hundreds of little transactions. This is not for, you got to have a lot of time and be super, super patient.
Can I hire you?
No, because it is so tedious that I can barely do it enough myself. And then I got these overachievers that we meet every week, and these guys are doing 50 wallets, and I'm just like, how do you do that? Like 5 wallets about.
Can an AI help? I would imagine.
So it probably could, but it's more of an art than a science. It's like, so everything is so different. If I didn't have, this guy's name is Kedrick, he's the leader of this group that we're in, and he thinks, anyway, so that's kind of crazy, but it's fun, and it's actually, we can make some good money. It's just very tedious. But then my yield farming
This is all about arbitrage, right? Like that piece to the puzzle.
Well, the word, it's not really arbitrage. It's more just speculation, because it's like, what's the next one? So let's I don't know if you're at a ZK Lite, ZK Net, that's the next kind of big one. They're rolling out, because so like Arbitrum and Optimism, all these layer 2s, before they rolled out, and they had a bunch of smart contracts and lending platforms and swapping platforms before they had a token, right? And so with Arbitrum, we went in and we just did little transactions. So he would identify, okay, let's put this much money here and this much money here and here and here. And you hope, because none of they don't say, like Arbitrum didn't say, do this and you'll get rewarded. But we did enough things that we got rewarded pretty well. And now you learned a lot. And so for like ZK Net, we're hoping to, 20, 30,000 each for each of us.
ZK Net is on Ethereum, and they do reduced gas fees. Is that right?
That's basically, ZK Net is a little bit different. But that's basically, these layer 2s. That's what Arbitrum and Optimism are. Exactly what you just said. ZK Net, ZK Lite, ZK Mainnet, or whatever, is like that too. But it's almost a combination of a layer 1 and a layer 2. But it is Ethereum based.
So it makes a broadcast. So basically it's this, it takes the information, you make the payment, and it takes the information, then it broadcasts throughout all of the network. Is that right? The entire network? And then you're able to aggregate lots of transactions from that?
Yeah, I think that's basically, so ZK is like zero knowledge rollups. And it's, the way I look at it is, it's the next evolution of Ethereum. It's basically a better Ethereum, even though it still kind of rides on the basic of it. So what's easier is like Arbitrum and Optimism, pure layer 2s. What they do is they use Ethereum as the base security layer, and then they use another layer on top of it to do all the checking and to make transactions much, much faster. And what they do is they have, like you said, they bundle up a whole bunch of transactions, and then like at night or later on, they roll those down into Ethereum to like settle the network. And like, okay, yeah, everything looks good. Okay. But they do it really, really quick at the layer 2 level.
This is a problem. This is a problem.
What's the problem?
People are using it for transactional money making machine.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is, in my personal beliefs, is we're missing the point of the technology when people are just trying to make transactional.
Oh yeah. But that's okay. So that is one problem, right? I mean, but again, like you kind of said it though. It's funny because it's almost like the opposite of what you were saying before, which is fine because what any new technology, it's going to gravitate, especially with money, right? It's going to pull in everybody and anywhere from anywhere to try to do anything to make a buck, right? So the FTX, Genesis, all those, I call them pseudo banks that were really just kind of hybrid banks. They weren't even crypto. They saw a gap to take advantage of. And that's what they did. They took advantage, and then Sam Bankman-Fried, clearly frauded people because there was an opportunity. So what you're talking about even more, because there's lots of layers to that, is in Ethereum and all proof of stake, you've got that the validators can actually, if you're a validator and you have a node, you can see every transaction that's coming in on the Ethereum network, right? And you can then arbitrage. And what they do is that's purely making money. You look at all the transactions, you say, which one can I make the most money on? You front run that, you make a copy of it. And that's actually a problem that Ethereum has. And it's strictly siphoning money from other people.
Well, I guess we got, okay, so hold on, something's coming through. You said it's tedious.
Yeah, the work that I'm doing is very tedious.
It's a new occupation. It's not new in the sense of day trading and so on and being tedious and the, on that.
This is a brand new thing.
And if what I hear you saying is built on building a system so that it can be tested, we're going to need the people to do that tedious work. So if it's using several mechanisms in order to ensure that the assets are safe on the network, and then you're able to make profit that's very, obviously, very assertive, then that's good for the development of that particular platform. So you're working for the platform and the benefits are different. We just have to change the language and the understanding. So here's what the job opportunity would look like, right? Be a part of optimism in order to build our network, be a part of our building. And this is your role. Here's your responsibility. And this is the net of your profits from doing so. You can make up to 30 to 60% of your XYZ. I mean, right? So there's a role there. Yes. There's a role. Okay.
So it's interesting. I mean, basically what you're describing is the mechanism that new blockchains use to build up their user base from nothing. And so this is, I don't know if it's been written anywhere, but this is what is happening. They roll out. So back in the days where you had the ICOs and basically they, rug pulls and people just, create these projects.
Those were the days you made money. No,
right. No, but a lot of people did. A lot of people lost a lot of money, right?
I called it was called ICO because Brock Pierce gave me my first $50 in cryptocurrency. I've told you this story before. And he said, "You'll thank me later." I remember exactly what he said and he giggled. And I was like, okay, so I had to he had me download the app on BlockFi, I think it was Block One, I can't remember. And then I downloaded it. Of course, I lost my key because that was in 2014 when he gave it to me. In 2017 is when it went like, and I've got everyone scammering to get their money, and I couldn't find my key. Yeah. So what happened is ICO, we changed the words. It was called initial community offering.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. Yeah, that would be a good thing.
That's what we. I mean, that's what.
But everybody just remembers that time frame and that word for the bad part, right? For all the stuff they lost. So, and the reason I go there is that what blockchains now had to do is they couldn't just roll out a token to get funded, because there were some good projects too, like Cardano and some of the good ones did the same thing, or Ethereum basically sold a token before it really had any users, and look where it's at. So it could work. but a lot of people didn't. So now blockchains had to actually get users and prove that the shit worked first, and then they could drop their token and reward the users that were using the systems and kind of take off. So Optimism and Arbitrum were, a lot of them did it, but those were the two biggest ones. And so people started saying, look, if we can identify what are the tasks that these blockchains will reward us with and call us valid users, then we'll get the airdrop. So there's a whole group of people now that's what they do. They identify, like this guy that I'm following identifies like 100 projects, blockchains or whatever that he thinks will drop a token at some point. Then they identify what are all the systems that they have, and then we just go through and we set up. It's very specific, because if they think they can figure out if you're trying to game the system, then they won't reward you. So I have 10 wallets now. We have to be very careful how we interact with each wallet, because if it looks like we're trying to not really scam it, but work the system.
I like the word you said, game. It is a game.
We're trying to sort of, you don't want to game the system. And so there's absolutely nothing illegal about it. It's simply, we're saying here's the rules. We don't really know, but we're going to try. And sometimes we miss it. Like we'll do a bunch of transactions and they won't be valid, or they won't reward us. And we're still at the beginning. Like Arbitrum was the first one that we hit.
Can you spell Arbitrum? Can you spell it for me?
ARBI, Arbitrum.
Oh, UM. Okay. Okay.
It's another layer 2. And so, okay. So let me I don't know. We're getting off on some crazy fun stuff here, which I can talk about all day.
Well, I'm curious if you'd be open to doing an experiment, because I haven't done it. Would you like to do an experiment with me? And I can open up 10 different wallets, see how long it'll take us. And then it'll be like a hackathon. We'll spend a certain amount.
I have no problem with that. I was thinking about this is after I made my first $6,000, like boom, like overnight, I thought, okay, gosh, who should I tell about this? Because but I thought I didn't really know anybody that, one, had the time, and two, you got to know about wallets and you got to be pretty comfortable because you're making lots of transactions. And I would love to just because it's fun. And the more that I talk about it and think about it, because there's a lot of parts to it. And I'm learning it from another guy. I have a group of about 10 people that we're doing this together with. But if you want to, man, absolutely. I mean,
because I have placed, in a full transparency, I have placed almost everything except for my Bitcoin into USDC.
Yeah.
And then I did, I just put everything there, kind of went in and out on the Bitcoin here and there. But and then USDC got locked up. And I was freaking out because
I bet
everything
was too.
Everything is, and in that moment, like I said, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to promote something. I'm not going to put my heart and soul into conscious community development when we can't figure it out right now. So I got a little bit.
I really hear you about that. This is what I struggle with also, because, okay, that's really interesting, because the book, the quick hit book. So I've created my own little investment strategy, if you will, that I think is a little bit unique. And it's very simple. It's like, basically what I do is I dollar cost average into Bitcoin and Ethereum every week. $100 goes into each, and I just kind of forget about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't really play in altcoins that much. And then I go and I do yield farming. So I'm out in all these different liquidity pools and I'm trying to earn yield, 20% at a minimum. And there's lots of them that are 50, 60, 100%. That's like my USDC paired up with, say, ETH or whatever, earning 20, 30, 40, 50%. And that's my basic. And so that is like this basic theory. And then I also am learning trading, like hardcore trading, that eventually I'll sprinkle some of that in just for fun, right? But I'm not even investing in that yet. But that's a simple, like, it takes crypto and takes the complexity out of it. like, I don't really care if Bitcoin's up or down. I mean, I pay attention to it, but that's my long-term stuff. Now, when it gets back to 60, I'll probably sell half of it, take some profit, keep the other half in, let it ride. But I'm focusing on yield. And then this whole air farming thing is just this other thing that is so crazy and convoluted that I could never teach it to anybody, so it's interesting to, like, if you want to work with it, well, it's crazy town. It's like, I just call it crazy town, but you got to have a lot of time and patience for it. But, so I'm building, I could spend all my time just investing. And I thought about, like, screw all this other stuff. I'm just going to invest, learn, and, and I'm making money now, finally. I'm not making, millions, but I finally now in the green after Bitcoin this year kind of got up because I'd been dollar cost averaging when it was higher, and so now I'm like on this trajectory, and I just want to ramp it up. And there's a whole nother technique that I'm learning right now on how to use Uniswap and this variable yield curve. So it takes a while to understand it, but then when I get it down, it's like, okay, how do I simplify it, organize it? And then I want to teach it to people. But like you said, not everybody can do this. There's only a certain kind of person because the stuff I'm getting into I'm not a rocket scientist, but I have patience, I have time, and I can understand complex concepts if I focus. But if you're not willing to focus and be patient and organized, then this isn't for people.
So I think that's the key here is, right, I mean, we're both educators. We're both passionate about cryptocurrencies and innovation, particularly for me is innovation, wellness, and technology.
Yeah.
It's human consciousness and how this all ties into technology. That's the key, is focus and discipline. So if we can have these smaller groups, 10 to 20, and maybe you're starting off at 5 or 6 people, including yourself, and you start to have these feedback loops of what the challenges are, and then you move into from focus and then discipline, because not everybody is accountable for their time or their actions. This is part of the skill sets that you build before you deep dive into the compatibility of cryptocurrencies and Uniswap and decentralized. You got to make sure that person, one, is grounded enough that they're fully committed in everything that we do. Relationships. I mean, I can tell you, I'm not the best at accounting. I can tell you right now, I finally sat down on a Friday to pay a parking ticket.
Yeah, me.
And I thought to myself, Brandy, why do you put everybody else in front of you? You have the things you have to do. Why do you always put everybody else first? It's not like I'm making millions and it's flowing and, I'm like, that's my focus. No, I got to take care of my own stuff. That's a very real human statement.
It is. I think that's the key to life. How can we take care of our basic shit, our life, right? Kids, dinner, our car, all the stuff it is to be human, right? And then have passion and make money or do our thing and passion, all of that stuff. It's just, human, like they call it adulting. And sometimes you just got to sit back and like, you're doing good, but it's like, you're okay.
Yeah. Well,
a little discipline, a little organization.
So let's just say if you were to have 12 weeks of engagement to get into this you call it air farming.
Let's see. Airdrop. No, this is something that we're kind of making. I called it airdrop farming, kind of a play off of yield farming. He calls it airdrop hunting. I call it airdrop farming. Nobody.
I asked my AI what is air farming, and it says, I'm sorry, but I am not familiar with the term air farming in the context of cryptocurrency or blockchain technology. It's possible that the term is new or specific to a certain community or project.
Yeah, even if you did airdrop farming, it might try to figure it out from airdrops and yield farming, because but it's not a term.
I mean, I know what an airdrop is, and here's the challenge with airdrops. Okay, when you first said airdrops, I immediately went,
I know, I get it. I get it.
You don't, okay, so let's start.
Are we starting?
Let's- I know it's been a while since we've had this talk, so what is airdrop? What is an airdrop? All right, so an airdrop is when you receive an a currency or an NFT, however that looks, and you receive it inside your wallet, and you're all of a sudden are either happy or
You're very
sad.
sad.
Because in the NFT world, a lot of airdrops can happen because you have your wallet pretty much is open in a certain type of framework on the, I don't know what the code is called, but you can receive promotions, and those promotions will give you access to different things. The challenge is there's a lot of scammers out there, and there are a lot of thieves. And so
Yeah.
you don't want to have it in a wallet that is populated or has any money in it, because they can get in there and
Yeah.
basically
Well,
take
the
your-
question with airdrops though is like, it's an open book, right? Unless you somehow close it down. But for the most part, people can just drop shit into your wallet. And that's the scary part. I'm actually, I don't want to say battling, but my coin tracker. So I got dropped. Well, I don't know. It was like $50,000 worth of this token called Factor, FCT, FACTR.
I think I know what it is.
Well, that sucker is a real, it's like, it's on CoinGecko. It was a tradable thing. I don't know how it got into my wallet, but it got in, and I started to research it, and it's like half of it, it's like, it's kind of there, but there was a lot of not like confusing stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know what this is, but I'm not touching it. I'm not going to, okay. That's the problem, right? You say, oh, what's this? And you click on it, and then you just open your wallet, and now they can come in and steal everything out of your wallet, right? That's the worst thing.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you don't want to interact with them. And so, but Coin Tracker, because it thinks it's a valid transaction, it's reporting that I have this $50,000 that's, in my portfolio, and they won't let me delete that one transaction. So I'm kind of going back and forth with them, like, and apparently a lot of people they're updating their system, but it's not there. But so I don't know, back to something you were just talking about. It's like,
yeah, so here's what I kind of bring it home, and this conversation, we went on different levels. So where you're passionate and what I think could work and be helpful is this area of always personal development for me is focus and discipline, and then defining what your goal is, right? So if you can define what the goal is specifically around cryptocurrency and what you want to achieve for you, but also what the client wants to achieve, then you give them the tools. And the tools can be very simple. It can be, okay, I have this one thing. Well, let's learn about airdrops. I'm sure you already put a lot of curriculum together. I know that you've been working on that as Crypto Cowboy. So,
not that kind of stuff, but just so I had 4 clients that paid me money to teach them crypto, and that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. I have 3 people that I still work with, and part of that, and this is really good, they informed me kind of like where I should take this or not. And the 2 ladies are so challenged. It's so hard working with them because they're not technical, and I've been working with them for so long. We've taken a bunch of breaks, but just getting them their Coinbase account, we use an Exodus wallet for our hot wallet to, self-custody, and a MetaMask wallet. That's just been really, really hard. But I got them into Bitcoin, and I teach them all about what cryptocurrency is and everything. And that's all been good. But the next level is I want to get them into some of this. I just call them crypto savings accounts, because that's simple. It's like, instead of going to a bank and earning 0.5%, you can earn at least 4 or 5%. And I use Rocket Pool, which is a staking, like a derivative staking thing. Pretty simple. You literally go into Uniswap and you swap your ETH for RETH, and you're staking. And that's all I want to get them to do. It's the simplest thing in the world, and we're struggling so much. The other guy I'm working with, he's more advanced. We're talking about yield farming. I show him what I'm doing with that, and that's all fine. But it's like the DeFi stuff, I can do videos and I could show them how to do it. And that's one path. But the airdropping thing, that's so far I could not, yeah, it's really confusing. That's not even a thing to teach anybody because I barely understand, and it's not really something to understand. It's just, you're just making transactions. There's an order to this, and I'm kind of letting this other guy lead that.
So basically it's like you need a compatible cryptocurrency in order to receive the airdrop. So if you need Polkadot, if you have Polkadot and Polkadot decides to drop a mass amount of cryptos into a large pool of wallets, you get to receive that airdrop, which is a marketing, right? It's a marketing tool for them to get you more inspired or either attend more, events, or it's actually funds more tokens. So then what do? Oh, this is great. I'm going to use this more often. I'm going to learn more about it, and I'm going to share this with others. And so the airdrops can be ultimately a positive thing, but it's really important that we pay attention to scammers. So the research that goes into it in the back end of the airdrops, I didn't mean to say that it was just a bunch of scam, but there is a lot of scammers out there who drop things into your wallets. And if you're not careful, you could hit the wrong button. And so you just,
no, it's, and in fact, that's why it is really cutting edge. It's like, this is, well, I don't know if cutting edge is the right word, but I wouldn't even touch this if I didn't have this guy who's quite advanced, that I'm in his academy, and we're like his test case. There's like 8 of us, I think. I think we paid him like $2,000 to teach us yield farming, which we're doing. But then he came up with this whole airdrop farming thing. He's like, I'm just going to test it with you guys. So we don't have to pay him any money, but he spends all of his day, he runs a hedge fund and stuff. And he just does this. So he researches, and he said, look, the ARB token, here's the day they're going to drop it. They've decided, because what happens is you don't really know what they call snapshot day. And that's the day they kind of take a snapshot of their blockchain and they look at all the wallets and they see, here's all the wallets. And then they look to see who will participate and then how many tokens we're going to drop each of those wallets as a reward for being our loyal first users, right? And all the scammers were coming out of the woodwork for Arbitrum because it was really very publicized. And he's like, okay, don't do anything until I tell you. The minute I tell you we're going to do this, but don't do anything because you're going to be so many scammers. So I really trust him. I mean, and he's also, he's not brilliant, but he does this for a living, and he knows pretty much what he's doing. And so we did that, and we got on the phone and we kind of had a launch party, and we all said, okay, now let's go do this, and we'll do this very, very systematically to get our tokens. And we did, and it was fun. And the people that made $60,000, it was just like so fun to celebrate with them because it was just their hard work. I mean, me and my $6,000, I felt so proud to have done what it takes and be rewarded. And these guys, $60,000. I'm like, dude, like, you guys are my heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically in 155 days, you have 155 days to put together a plan of action to help people receive this.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So I guess they're coming out with they're going to come out with something new, or another one. But right now we're working on ZK Lite, and actually that one's probably going to be about 12 months, he said. But we're just working all the stuff out. But that part, so the whole airdropping thing, it's interesting that you got interested in that, or that kind of perked your interest, because that part is, that's a side thing that I do but it's lucrative, but it's like every night. And it's so tedious that first I kind of figure out, okay, because he puts out a video and he shows us exactly what to do. And again, we're dealing with, 25 wallets, probably 50 blockchains. And every time, in your MetaMask wallet, if you want to use a new blockchain, you've got a bridge to it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to this, but if you love it, it's awesome. Yeah. Like, I love it.
So we're going to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so let me show you. We're going to record it because this will be a first for me to do. And I'm I'm pretty coherent, and I have a MetaMask, I have a Uniswap,
yeah.
I have a Swap Sushi, I have a couple of things going on, but
Oh yeah, you can definitely do this because you've done it. You swapped or whatever. And like I said, but
I'm
I'm
rusty. I'm rusty because I tell you, I asked a bunch. No, I didn't ask a bunch of people. I asked a group to work through some new stuff out of Dubai, and I got really disappointed because I invested, and the market did not do what it said it was going to do. And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, the investment disappeared, and I was like, where's the actual coin? Where
Oh
did it go?
no.
Because a lot of them got. So this is why I say actually, I don't say anything. I want to learn how to do this we're going to call it airdrop. What did you call it? Airdrop.
Farming, airdrop farming is what I
Yeah.
thought.
Like coin
All right,
it,
let me
go get the URL.
open up the screen share. Let me share my screen. I'll show you the spreadsheet that we track all this shit on.
Okay. You got it. Do it.
All right. Okay. So here's the basic spreadsheet. So down below here are the protocols that we're working with right now. So here's the Arbitrum one. So we had let's see, how does he have this here? Let's see. Okay, so what he does is he'll put out a video, like a Loom video of how to do this. So the first thing you have to usually do is bridge. So you go in and you got to bridge your ETH over to the Arbitrum blockchain, and you get in your 5 wallets, you put in like, I think we put in like a couple $100 into each of the 5 wallets of ETH. And then we went through, and every one of these is a token that we had to trade using 1inch, which is a DEX. And we would go back in and we would actually, no, we would, in this case, we actually just bought these tokens for like really small, up here, like 0.01 ETH, 0.001 ETH. And you'd go in and
you don't show the value of it doesn't automatically show you the value of what 0.001 ETH was?
So yeah, sometimes it does. This is the thing about, again, because DeFi and all this stuff is so new, every DEX, every aggregator, everything they have their own UI. Some program it in there, some don't. And I get frustrated when they don't, because I want it, like if I plug in 0.03, some of them do, a lot of them do, but they all don't.
Mhm.
And every wallet's different, every different layer 2 is different. So like we were using 1inch, to do this. So we got the URL into there. Oh, see, this is an old one, so obviously it doesn't have that in there. And then so we did that, and then we moved over to this next one, and we did this shell protocol. And again, what we're trying to do is shell protocol, 1inch, all these different were new projects that were on the Arbitrum blockchain that they were new. And so we were just trying to do very small transactions with not a lot of money, but just showing us that we are an active wallet. So we went through all these and we did that. We did like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. We went over this one and we deposit $10 in here. Then we liquidate it, we close it out. So we're just trying to do lots of transactions with little amounts.
I have a question, and this is an ethical question. And sometimes my spidey sense on ethics comes up, because I have done some token launches and some token sales, and it requires a certain amount of wallets to be opened on the platform so that they can receive the funding.
Mm-hmm.
Is this part of the kind of like the fluff? I don't know the word for it right now, but is this this type of pooling, this type of engagement creates the value inside the platform, and then the platform shows the numbers that they have this many users, and then the investor invests. But because you're doing this level of trading, you're not really a committed person. So ethically, this could be part of the issues if we're not careful.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on this. Let me, I don't have a locked in answer to this, but here's the way I look at it. Okay, so using Arbitrum as an example, these different layer threes, Arbitrum, when they put out their blockchain, they needed to go out and find projects to come and be, the layer three or the application to sit on top of their blockchain, right? The layer two Arbitrum blockchain, which sits on top of Ethereum. It's like they need customers. And before they can get the word out, just like you said, they need to prove that, hey, look, we're the next greatest blockchain because we have all this great technology. So you should come on our blockchain. And the more that they have, the better it looks, just like you said.
Yeah.
So, but by the time that we're involved at this point, these are already platforms that are out there. They may be new, but most of the time, by the time we get into them here, they've been around for a couple months, which, in crypto time, that's ancient. Their systems most of the time work, but these are new systems. And sometimes we get in, and they're kind of clunky.
Mm-hmm.
But all that we're doing is, so again, back to the marketing of this. This is what they're saying, and this is not like laid out anymore. This is just sort of intuition. Like it's like airdrops have been around for a long time, and the reason they were even created, right, was to incentivize people, right, to give them a reward for some reason, right? It's like, here, let me drop some tokens in here for whatever. And as you know, it started as a marketing thing. It's like, look, if you use our system as a loyal customer, we'll reward you. That's a marketing ploy. So now it's just gotten bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And these companies like Arbitrum and Optimism, they had this marketing going on for like a year. Sometimes they do this for a whole year, and they get lots of usage and lots of data and lots of customers. And to me, this is the most responsible way to do it, because when they drop a token, people now can invest in that token, right? So it's more responsible for me now, because you can go online and invest in the Arbitrum token. It's actually, I think, a good project. I sold half of my Arbitrum into USDC, and I've left the other half because I think Arbitrum's a good project. So I'm just kind of sitting on them. And now people can invest in it. But I know if I invest in it, they've spent a year trying to make it the best environment they could by getting the most customers. And I, as a customer that was testing it, like one of the guys in our group said, boy, we were testing out this one exchange, this Avella exchange, which happens to be this one right here. And he's like, I really like that. I think I'm going to use that as my normal exchange. And Ked, our leader's like, that's music to their ears. That's exactly why they do this. They wanted you to experiment and see this is a really good system, and they want you to use it long-term now. Mm-hmm. And so in this case, I don't think it's what you're saying. I don't know for a fact that it's fluff, but I see what you're saying. I personally am not worried about it, and I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to learn. I just love learning, and very specifically about crypto and this part of the air farming. I think could be
airdrop. You're leaving out the drop part, because remember, AI doesn't know what air farming is.
Yeah. Airdrop farming. Well,
but this is crazy. So it's like sort of like with this one, and I recorded. So this was basically just swapping or trading, and I would just go in and I start with ETH, and you have to bridge over. So I bridged over my ETH into this ZK.
And when you say, I know what bridge means. It's basically just transfer. Yeah,
yes, and every time you go from, so the key is the MetaMask wallet. It's like let's see. I don't use this computer to do my trading, but I think I can log in here. Oh, but I don't have a lot of them. So anyways, like in the MetaMask wallet, I don't know. So you can have, you have like 5 different blockchains,
Yep.
or 10 or 12, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but if I have some money, I start everything from Coinbase. I take, my money from Coinbase and I transfer it to my MetaMask account in Ethereum. That's where it starts. So now it's in my Ethereum wallet on MetaMask. Now, if I have Arbitrum and I now don't want to transact on Arbitrum, I have to bridge from the Ethereum network over to the Arbitrum network, even if it's USDC or ETH.
Mhm. And
So
there's,
after,
how many steps is that? It's like 3 steps, right? 3 or 4 steps in order to make that happen.
well, steps is in, it might
have-
be 2 or
You have to double check on different,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
You have to, in every transaction, I do that. I double check and just to make sure I'm sending it to the right place, because I've lost $1,000 here and there. I sent it to the wrong address. I thought I double checked it, or
I always say send $1 to $10
Yeah.
before you do anything.
Yeah.
That's what I go to.
And the problem with this is, the good thing is we're using small amounts. So if you do make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. But the thing of what happens here is that you're making so many transactions that you go cross-eyed, you get crazy, and you can only do it for so long. And so once I get the system down, then I just pop on Netflix, or I'll put something on, and I'll just sit in a chair and do transactions, because otherwise just go out of my.
So here's the challenge. So AI has a spreadsheet protocol and prompts. I'm wondering if maybe your guy or girl has the prompts for being able to look at these transactions in a certain way. I
don't think he does, because he's swamped. He can barely keep his head with all the stuff.
Let's find out who can make it, because then you would be the go-to person.
Well, this was my thinking, and I actually went down the rabbit hole. I signed up for a class on how to build conversational AI tools, and I thought, I'm going to be the man. And really what it was like, because I've seen this, it's like the problem I see with AI is that it's all over the place. Like,
wait, are we going to start on an AI conversation?
No. But I was like, I'm going to create this AI platform for an entrepreneur and have it all organized so that when you do your social media, it keeps it here. When you do your emails, it keeps it here, because you go to ChatGPT and you have to copy and paste and you put it here, and it's just all over the place. So I was going to organize all that. I still think it's a great idea. I started to go crazy because I had so much on my plate, and I was like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. So I'm like, okay, I can't do AI. I'm going to focus on crypto. And then right now, my challenge is not only this, but here's my yield farming. Here's my yield farming tracking spreadsheet. And it's the problem so I'm not actually in that many of them, but I'm in this one, this one, this one, this one. And every single one of these are liquidity profile, smart contracts, or whatever. They all are different. So it's hard to find out, like I said, how am I doing? Like, am I doing good or bad? So I've got to log into each one, and I'm like, I got to organize that. I want to create a nice spreadsheet that's like a dashboard that goes out and scrapes that automatically and just shows me, here's this one, here's my APY, here's how much money I made last week or I lost. And I've been searching for this out there. It's probably out there, but it's like there are protocols out there that will do this for your DeFi, but it doesn't do everything I want it to do. So I was going to create my own. So I've actually got some books on how to do it in Google Sheets, like how to program it. Microsoft has one called Power Apps. So it's so funny that you're even talking about it, because I have been searching this, but I'm kind of going crazy. It's like almost like, oh, Randy, like if you want to help on this, God, I would love it. And it's like too much for me. I need help. And so what I've kind of done before this conversation was kind of shelve that and say, okay, that's too much for me. I'm going crazy. So the programming part, but if we could find somebody to do it, I agree with you. This is a gap to have a dashboard that clearly organizes this stuff.
I'll show you my spreadsheet. It's not very up to date, but this is the one that I've been using, but it shows basically the date that I purchased it, the coins, the volume, and then it changes once I put it in there because of the code. And it's with Coindex. It's on, that's where it's coming in at, and it shows you how many moves and then you'll end up what the projected price is. Coin market cap.
So it pulls it automatically, the price? Or you have to type it in?
Automatic. No, you originally put in the current price and then you put in your volume.
Yeah, and then updates it. Yeah. I mean, and that is good for, and I basically use Coin Tracker for this. It does sort of the same thing, because simply buying and holding, or when you sell, that's kind of simple. This yield farming thing, what I'm saying is that there is no market cap that you can pull from it, because every single one's different. So there are these systems they're called like screen scraping. They go in and they look at the screen, and you can tell, okay, now take the price of this thing, because every single system is different. And a programmer could do it pretty easy, but I'm not a programmer.
So let's plan a little call and an experiment. And today's April 21st. So maybe when you're open to it next week.
Okay.
No, I'm at consensus next week. But let's plan on it. Maybe just outline all the steps so you know in your head like what you think you should do, and then we'll record it and see how we do. And
no, that'll be fun. That'll be good, because it'll kind of see, could this be done? Could you teach somebody that? I mean, you can, but so if you want to, start off with 5 wallets. That's what I started off with. So what just in your MetaMask, just create 5, and I just call it airdrop 1, airdrop 2, airdrop 3, airdrop 4, airdrop 5. And then if you to kind of prepare for that, put like $200 in each one of ETH.
Okay.
And if then we could start at that level. Because then we could go right into one and start doing it.
That's easy. Okay.
Cool. Well, this was a funny phone call. It was so much fun. It's not what I expected. I thought we'd just check in, see how you're doing about this, and then we just dove down every rabbit hole there is.
I know, so fun. Right when I thought I was just gonna unplug and go back to nature. Well, at the end of the day, you know what's gonna fund our off-grid? This is, let me start there. The reason I'm interested is to build wealth for our off-grid location, and to continue to have prosperity for those who come and need support. The more abundance that comes in through our property and through me specifically, through our investors, the more that we can help our community learn and then earn and then come back into their communities on grid. And when they learn off grid, they're learning horticulture, permaculture, they'll have NF trees, and the NF trees will give them access to the learning platform of how you actually sustain during very specific financial trials. And in order to sustain, that requires safety, play, of course, and belonging. Who's in your inner circle, who's in your outer circle, and what is the value of that network, right? They say the network is your net worth, but really, do we really know what it is? If everything were to, let's not put it out there, but let's just say one bank after another does collapse, where do you go? Can you go to your mother? Can you go to your brother? Can you go to your sister? Can you go to your neighbor? There might be a lot of people who are unexpected to have a need. So the first thing I'm looking at is, it's 555 right now. The first thing I'm looking at is owning land that's off grid. So your bills are low, and you do fractional ownership. And the fractional ownership allows you to have access to everything that's on site and online. And if you have on site and online, you can come and you can stay there for 30 days. You're a part owner. You learn, you contribute, you grow, you then grow trees or however you want to contribute. And then that goes into a staking pool. So we're taking IRL, learning and living experiences, and documenting that through online, which can be trade and swap. So if I have time, like a regular timeshare, I can then trade my week or my month or my year with you, and then you can come and stay there and then continue on developing the land and also the currency.
I love that. I love that idea. I love it. And it's funny too, because I was thinking that's what I want to like spend my time trading so I can make some money so I can invest in off grid at Brandy's Island or whatever.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, we'll schedule that up. And so consensus is all week, or are you just gonna be there a couple of days?
Right now, it looks
I
like
think
I
it's Monday,
will.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I think I would be on the 24th, which is Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, probably come home on Sunday.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're out all next week. Okay, cool.
Maybe you'll go. It's not that far.
Well, it's funny because I'm trying to pick out a conference I'm gonna go to, and
Consensus is one of my favorites because they're
Is it?
more they're more
aren't they
about
also, what's the one in September? There's one, isn't there a consensus in September version of it?
one in New York, one in Austin.
There's
One
something in September in Austin, I thought.
in Tampa, I
Consensus.
think there's another one in Tampa. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
doing
kind of
one in
picking out.
Costa Rica. We're doing one in Costa Rica in November. You're so
Oh,
cute. You text me, you're like, well, if you're still in crypto, like,
well, no, the thing is I could feel like you were called to spirit and you were off grid and doing your yoga. And I'm like, oh, she checked out. But, I mean, it makes sense. I totally see why you would have, but I'm just glad you're in both, that you're not completely out.
the promising thing about choice is we have it. And you can get caught up and make that your life, or you can pull out and know that you're not losing anything and go back to nature, go back into harmony and know why you're doing that. Why do that? What, to make some money?
Right.
No, you're doing that so you can bring life back to humanity so that they don't live in fear and poverty mindset. Like, that's why I do it. I don't want to.
I like this, what do you call it, by the way? Your island, your treat. What's it called?
It's Mayan Heart Village. It's all
Mayan
the
Heart
Mayans.
Village.
Yeah, indigenous. So it's indigenous tribes around the world are coming together.
So that's what I love. That's like, I want to invest and be in crypto and do that, and then go off grid and decompress and get back with nature and spirituality. And the fact that, yeah, if you connect it with, a token, some NFT stuff, I mean, to me, that's very holistic. It's very healthy. It's not checking out from all of it, but not, having a place to like decompress, because it, sometimes you almost can't help. Like you saw when you were traveling and everything, you get sucked in and it's crazy town. And that's just what it is, but now you have a place to go decompress. And I think that makes perfect sense. That's great.
Yeah, I show you before we head off. Let's see. Alexa's talking.
Brandy, here's a reminder. If you get the garbage cans.
Do you hear my reminder?
What was it about garbage can?
Reminder. If you get the garbage cans.
I said Alexa to give me a reminder, but it's saying Avery, go get the garbage cans.
Well, that makes more sense. Come on, Avery, go get the garbage cans.
So this is the land, and it's sitting currently on 8.5 acres. And the coordinates happens to be very special because it aligns coordinates with the grids. If you know anything about sacred geometry, it aligns with the latitude is associated to sacred geometry and sometimes referred to as the hyper dimensions, the nexus point. This latitude refers to a specific, sorry, this is not working. Latitude refers to a specific line of latitude on the earth that is approximately 19.5 degrees north or south of the equator. In the context of sacred geometry, some believe that this latitude represents a unique energy field or power spot on earth. So we happen to find it. This idea is based on the belief that certain geometric shapes, such as the tetrahedrons, have special properties and can be used to access higher dimensions of consciousness or spiritual energy. The 19.5 latitude is significant because it intersects with other sacred sites and energy vortexes around the world, such as the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Hawaiian Islands. Isn't that nice?
That's cool.
The miracles that came up after I was there, just very next level, I guess you could say. So this is the main house. And that's where the main kitchen is. It'll be a common kitchen, and there's 3 bedrooms inside of here. The Pono village, which has the tiny homes around it. And we'll do retreats and fire dancing and all that sacred ceremony and yoga. We're going to build another dome out there. This is the inside of the main house, 4 bedrooms, kitchen, laundry, studio, 2 studio cottages. So tiny homes. So you go there and you have your own little spot.
Cool.
And then there's another one, Palenque, is a place off in
So
Mexico.
the little ones have their own bathrooms,
Some of them.
some of them, and showers.
We're going to build more outdoor showers.
Do they currently have outdoor showers?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so this one had 21 mature, actually it's more than that. There's 36 mature fruit producing trees on this one. We'll need more solar, we'll need more water catchment, but everything is off grid. So, and they're producing fruit, so we can sell it in boxes to ship.
Who's living there now?
The homeowner who built it.
So they built it and they're living there. Did they? I mean, it obviously looks like it was built for kind of like a spiritual retreat thing. Did they have that? Did they build it for that? Did they?
They hosted some events, not a lot. It was him and his wife and his little one, and now they are no longer together. So it's just a lot of land to take care of, and he's ready to move on to his next venture. Yeah.
Now, is this your friend, the guy you're going in with?
Yeah, Amaya.
Amaya.
Yeah, he is.
Awesome.
He owns a talent agency, talent booking. He's all around Latin America. He's, business professional, but he's also a spiritualist and hosts sacred ceremonies for the Mayans. And so we're with the Kogi tribe, and now in Hawaii, the land is being, the project, not the land, but the project is being blessed by the indigenous there, which is a big deal.
So how far is it? So it's on the island of Hawaii. How far from the city? Is it Waikiki or Oahu? What is it? Oahu?
It's in the Big Island, which is where Kona and Hilo is, and this is in Pahoa. Pahoa is next to Mount Kea, which is the biggest mountain in the world.
And so from the ocean there, can you walk to the ocean? Is it close enough to walk to it?
There are these things called mermaid ponds, which is where the lava tubes created these ice. I think you might have seen on my Instagram, if you saw the pictures of me laying in my bathing suit, that was one of the mermaid ponds. So the ocean is there. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. You have to walk on the lava to get to these areas.
So would you so is the ocean accessible or not really?
Yeah, it's all ocean. You're on the island.
Well, I mean,
is it inland? Yeah.
Because it looks like it's pretty jungly, from the houses to.
Oh, let me share again. You'll see where it is. Where did it go?
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you said that you're like a luxury girl, because I'm kind of a wimp too. It's like I would love to experience it, but it's like, I probably have to take it in short spurts.
Yeah, I love luxury. I mean, the plan is to have the place in like a luxurious environment, not just off grid.
Right. Yeah, but there are people that, hey, they want to live off grid all the time. It's like I would like it to decompress and be there for a week or two or whatever, and then
I love staying in the jungle, but I still like to go to the main. So see where the ocean is?
I do. So how do you access, or where do you get there?
Just like 2 miles. It's like 2 miles.
So you just walk through the jungle to it? Is that what?
No. There's a road.
Oh, gotcha.
There's a road. Yeah, it's a beautiful road. Some of the island got cut off because of the lava, so now they're opening up the road again. It's in a zone 2, which is, close to the volcano, but it's not zone 1.
What's zone 1?
Close to the volcano. So just
so if it blows, in 1 you're done. 2 you might make it.
Yeah,
Three.
right.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, thank you so much. I think this has been really, like you said, it's been special. We went all over the place, but we went on what we like, and we just
Absolutely. It's been fun. It's just fun. I had two fun sessions. I had my podcast with Brianna, and we talk about all the same stuff. We do a little more organized. I don't know if you've watched our show, but we're, we kind of, I go off on rants all the time. Like we'll start with news articles and we'll talk about it, and then I just go off on a rant, whatever. But it was fun. I'm just like, today I was my rant. And this is the funny thing, because I'm glad, you brought some things in this discussion. It's like, hey, this is great. Stay in it, do it. But yeah, pull back, relax, chill. And I do have to remind myself that, and it is funny. It's like, well, what am I getting worked up about? What do I care? It's like, whatever. I don't know. I have passion. It's just a passion. And so you have to work with it, right? You don't want to get too consumed by it.
Yeah, that's why I think our sessions would be great for you if you're ready and willing. It's an interesting balance, my love. It's
Oh,
fun.
That's why I'm trying to figure out to make some money. I have enough to subside and live good, but I just have no excess. But in fact, and a lot of it, if I do, I invest it now in crypto, but it's all gonna work out for the good. I mean, it's already starting to, I'm already starting to see some benefits, and that's good.
It's
a bear market and then a bull market.
But it's a thin veil, and we'll close with this. It's a thin veil of what is real and what is on the other side of the veil. And in these dimensions in which we know exist, and we're only tapping into one very specific focal unit of time. So when you shift your consciousness slightly out of that, like unplug from, even I was reading, your brain and your eyes, you're shutting down part of your brain when you're just doing this on the computer. So when you give a peripheral view and go outside, and you go out into a jungle, or you go outdoors in general, you're now opening up all of the neocortex and all of the central brain, which then goes down into the spine, which then feeds your cells. And then that's what I know is life, right? It's not trying to figure out how to survive or even be a creator of a new world. It's more about the expansiveness of opportunity, and you can only reach it when you're open to letting go. That's it. You can, if you're on the wheel like this,
yeah,
and you got to do that, and you're not figuring out, you're still in it. So this is the ultimate way of creating, is to be complete. So, and that comes from practice. It doesn't happen overnight, and you have to be willing to commit. And then boom, you get the phone call. Boom, money comes in. Boom, the lover shows up. You know the story. So
no, it's good. And I think it's what's awesome about that retreat is that really attracting, people like that, like crypto professionals, technical people that sit at their computer all day working, and to give them that, immerse them in what you just explained to me. I mean, they need it. Like, we need it. We need them to be calm and stuff. So they go back and create and, create the next financial world.
Beautiful thing for the ones who are hungry, and that's why I'm in it, is where is the next water well? Where is the next, clean air? Where is unlocking traffic in India? What does that look like? So anyways, I'm so excited that we are just being who we are. I know that we were brought together a long time ago for this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's so fun. It twists and turns. It's fun. I loved following you, like when you were traveling and stuff, and just seeing where you were and stuff. And then when you were off the grid, I was just like, okay, she needs a break. That's cool. But it's good to see you're still in it, but not, you're, really good perspective about it. So that's helped me to continue to have a good perspective while I'm sitting here doing all these freaking transactions. Let go.
I'm willing to go crazy with you, though. All right.
I know you are. That's the thing. It's like, we'll just see how crazy we can get you.